All right, let's get started. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, November. I'm not even sure what date it is. It's Wednesday, and we are on the weekly SCORE webinar. This hosted by SCORE Monmouth. Sorry, I didn't turn the notifications off on my computer. Just a little bit of housekeeping and a little bit about us. So we are SCORE Monmouth. We are a business mentoring program. We are sponsored by the SBA. We are actually a national program, but here on the call today, sorry, I knew that was going to happen. I knew my dogs were going to bark just as I started talking. Sorry about that. So we are with SCORE Monmouth today, and we have with us Debbie Weems, who is going to be speaking about LinkedIn and why LinkedIn should matter to you. A couple of housekeeping things. We welcome questions. We want to make this as interactive as possible. And if you could please place your questions in the Q&A box. We're going to take the questions at the end today. So Debbie's going to go through her presentation, and then we'll take the questions at the end of the webinar. This webinar will be available on our YouTube channel within a couple of days after the webinar. We'll put it up there, so you'll also be able to see it there. And I think that's all I have. So I'm going to hand over to Debbie and mute myself.
Good day to everybody. Thank you so much, Claire. I really appreciate this opportunity to address your volunteers and members of SCORE. I've worked with several of the chapters down here around South Florida, and this is going to be a very jam-packed, informative type of presentation to give you an overview of LinkedIn. My goal today is to give you enough information to maybe cause you to think a little bit more about LinkedIn and how you could use it in your business life. It's been around for a number of years. So I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint. So I'm going to go through just a couple of slides, and then I'll get over to LinkedIn Live, and I'll look forward to addressing your questions at the end. So without further ado, let me get into my presentation here. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with how long LinkedIn has actually been around. They started the same time as Facebook, almost the same month. They both turned 17 years old in May. Now, Facebook has the largest number of members, but LinkedIn is the kingpin for professionals. And even now, they continue to add more than 2 new members per second around the world, and it's become the world's largest professional online network. So out of the 706 million members, the important figure is to remember around 37 million are actually active members. Those are people that are on LinkedIn 3 to 4 times a week. And I think that's the real figure to pay attention to, but 37 million is a lot of people to interact with. So chances are good, if you're looking to network and build relationships with professionals, you're going to find them on LinkedIn, no matter the industry, the location, the level of expertise. This is where you're going to find those people. So it also has evolved into the #1 resource worldwide for the HR industry. So if you know people in transition, it's definitely part of the hiring process to have a completed LinkedIn profile. And I think the current figure is 75% of the jobs in the US are posted on LinkedIn, which is interesting. When I started my business almost 10 years ago, we were a much smaller, network of professionals, and it was just starting to get noticed by HR. So it's really grown a lot. And when you think about the detail that's available on the profiles, you'll understand why HR really loves this site. And for a long time, LinkedIn was known as the job seeker's website, but it has grown so much more since then. And now over 35 million companies have a presence on LinkedIn with what's called LinkedIn pages. The figure I want you to pay attention to is this one. Over 6 billion searches were done on LinkedIn last year. That's a huge number, and you have to think of LinkedIn as a giant database. When people need a product or a service, pretty much anything, if they don't have a friend that said, hey, you need to call so-and-so for that, they're going to go to Google. And our job with what we do is to get our clients in what's called a optimized profile mode. That's keyword optimization. And that's how people rise to the top of searches for what they do. Or in the case of job seekers, that's how you can get noticed more by HR people. You need to be found on LinkedIn for whatever it is you offer, and you need to be coming up at the top of those searches. And that's a process called keyword optimization. And I'm going to give you enough information today so you can get started on that on your own. But we have this little saying amongst our team, why be on LinkedIn if you're not going to be found? You know, that's the whole point. It's a very interactive site for professionals. So what's important to know? A couple of things. If you've been on LinkedIn for a while, you are probably inviting people to connect, hopefully on a regular basis. And your invitations to connect are 5 times more likely to be immediately accepted if you take a minute to personalize them. And the only way to do that is when you have somebody in mind that you want to connect with, you need to go to their profile and hit the connect button from there. Now, if you've been on LinkedIn for a while, you'll know LinkedIn entices you to connect with people everywhere on the site. There's all sorts of resource pages where you can see people to connect with, and they'll have the button to connect right there. You need to stop and you need to go to that person's profile and hit connect. Otherwise, out goes a wordless invitation. They used to have a little generic one-line invitation. They don't even have that anymore. So remember to go to the person's profile, hit connect, and then tap on add a note. And you keep it short. You know, you just tell them why you want to connect with them. And I'll give you a tip now that's not in those reference documents that you'll get. Our favorite way to start an invitation to someone you don't know is to put them at ease by saying hello, first name, although we've not met, and then you go on from there. If you start with although we've not met, you're acknowledging the fact they don't know you from Adam, and you know, why make them scratch their head about why you want to connect with them? It can be as simple as, although we've not met, I noticed we have a couple of great mutual connections. I'm trying to build my network in your area. Let's connect. And thank you in advance. And I always say thank you in advance because I'm very assumptive and I have about a 97% conversion rate. Almost everyone I invite says yes. And there's a reason for that. So my whole team and I have been using the same templates, but we modify them and edit them accordingly. Look at the person's profile, find something in the profile to, first of all, let them know you looked at it. Secondly, let them know you have some synergy. And we don't advocate saying yes to every invitation that you get on LinkedIn. We don't feel that that's a best practice because we have a strategy that you want to have value with each person that you connect with. And that's so that you can lean on that value later to leverage that connection. And that to us is what it's all about. It's engaging with the right people that have value. Can you do something for them? Can they do something for you? And then later, you are able to lean on that commonality to maybe ask that person to introduce you to a viable target, or you know, introduce you to a company that you've been trying to get in touch with, whatever the case is. For us, it's not a numbers game. Now, for other people, it is. And you'll see people that have 40,000 connections. The limit for first level connections is 30,000. You know, I've been on LinkedIn for 13 years. I just hit 11,000 connections a while ago. I don't say that to brag. It's because I'm consistently and strategically building my network every day. Every day I send out 5 invitations, and we teach our clients to do the same thing. You never stop building your network, but you have a strategy involved. So over 90% of searches are keyword driven. Now that's not just on LinkedIn, that's on Google as well. People often don't know who they need or what the company name might be. They just know what they need. So think expertise. The first thing we tell everybody to do is get about 12 keywords together. And those are words that 1, 2, or 3 word phrase that somebody might type into the search field to find you if they didn't know your name and they didn't know anything about you. but they need a graphic designer, or they need a marketing expert, or they need someone who can handle logistics. You know, keywords describe your expertise. They are not adjectives. And don't overthink it. You know, think the way a layperson would think, and come up with about a dozen keywords, because in a minute I'm going to show you where to put those on your profile. So you want to complete your profile, build your network, always strive to have something in common. If you or you know someone that's in transition, there's a lot of valuable information and options under the Jobs tab. Job seekers can create very targeted searches anywhere in the world, and then they can save the search alert. And it's a very cool feature. LinkedIn will actually email them whenever a new job is posted that has the criteria that they're seeking. It's a very cool way to have LinkedIn work in the background for you. Now, if you're not a job seeker, you can create, on the free basic profile, you can create up to 3 people searches. So if you're looking to get in touch with CEOs, or you're looking to get in touch with development directors, or any other title, again, you can set it up by title, area, save it, and you'll get immediate results to go through. And then after that, every time somebody joins LinkedIn that matches your criteria, you're going to get an email. It's a very, very great feature. And we're doing a series of webinars free every week. And I don't want to pitch here, but just pay attention to the collaterals that you get. And I would love for you to connect with me. When you do that, you'll have access to our monthly newsletter. And it has a whole variety of LinkedIn tips, our calendar, all sorts of things that we're doing. And we do have a couple of webinars this month specifically for job seekers. It's a real challenge right now, so we're doing everything we can to help them. And half-hour webinar, lunchtime, we call it a lunch and learn. It's a great opportunity to just, everyone that registers gets a replay. So whether you can attend or not, you know, you'll be building up a series of little 30-minute lessons on LinkedIn. Okay, 94% of those 706 million members are using the free basic membership. And we're advocates of that. We don't turn people away from upgrading if their goals warrant it. But for 9.5 years, we have coached people who are using the basic membership and maybe premium if they've upgraded to the first level. But a lot of times we'll work with people that are paying for premium. We show them a few go-arounds that they're paying for, and they go back to the free profile. Free is a really important word to me. I went through a period of unemployment at 57 for 2 years, and I learned a lot. That's how I got involved with LinkedIn in the beginning, was as a job seeker. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong figure earlier. It's 65 million people that are active now. Microsoft bought LinkedIn about 3.5 years ago, and they're sinking a lot of money into the members to study their habits. So we try to keep up on the figures and stats. I live for the quarterly reports, but it's always growing. So there's opportunities for everybody. Okay, so there's a right way and a wrong way to use LinkedIn. So I'm going to go through this for a second. Okay. And because I really like to get onto LinkedIn to show you live different things. Have a complete profile. I'm going to cover pretty much each of these sections when we get over there. LinkedIn banner is that area behind your headshot. Headshot, obviously, you want to have a good one. Please have one. Just having a headshot is going to increase the views to your profile 7 times. You know, you're going to have 7 times more people viewing your profile when you have a headshot as opposed to not having one. Frankly, when I get an invitation, I'll make an exception today in case any of you listening don't happen to have a headshot and you invite me to connect. I will look, and if you're in the New Jersey area, or if you mention SCORE in your invitation, I'll accept your invitation. But normally, I get about 20 to 25 invitations to connect every day, and I'm whipping through those, and my criteria calls for a headshot. So normally, if I get an invitation and the person doesn't have a headshot, that's an immediate ignore for me. I don't have time to look at the profile. I basically, if someone's on LinkedIn and they don't understand the importance of showing who they are with a headshot, then they're wasting their time, because people want to see who they are dealing with. They want to see who they're going to engage with, no matter what the goal. Whether you're a job seeker or launching a new business or building your business or whatever, you need to have a decent headshot, and smartphones work fine. Not to take away from any photographers that might be on the call, but it's tough sometimes today, right now, to meet in person to get certain services, but do get a decent headshot. And the rest of that I'll cover when we get over there. Take advantage of additional sections. There's over 13 additional sections available besides the obvious sections to your profile. So again, LinkedIn does a pretty good job of hiding things sometimes, so I'll be showing you that as well. You want to be active, consistently build your network, do some posting. You can just jump on your homepage and just click like on someone else's post. That's activity. What you don't want to do, please, don't extend spammy invitations to connect or sell to your connections right after you connect. That is unfortunately becoming a real issue. I just did a post yesterday. I think I'll have time to share it with you when we get over there. It's pretty much going viral. Has a couple of thousand views on it in less than 12 hours. So I think I hit a nerve. And it was all about the way that somebody chose to send me what's called an in-mail. It's kind of the same as an invitation to connect, but it's a way to send a direct message to a person that you're not connected to yet. And she just pitched to me right out of the gate, and we're just so against that approach. That's like the person that you network, when we did in-person networking, and I've been a networking fanatic forever, but it's that person that comes up to you in a group setting and they have a handful of business cards and they shove one at you before they shake your hand. We've all been there. It's the same idea virtually. When you are inviting somebody to connect, it's like a virtual handshake. You want to keep it professional. You don't have any idea if they have a desire to know more about what you do or what you sell or what you can do for them. You need to develop a relationship, and we are huge on that strategy, and that's in all of our teachings. We have lots of different ways to work with people and companies, but the bottom line for us, it's relationship building, and you have to take the time to do it. When you take the time to do it, it's very effective, and you will get far more traction out of LinkedIn, whether it's sales or prospects or anything else, when you take what we call old school. I have this gray hair for a reason. Now, I've been in sales my entire life, but people want to know a little bit about you. Especially if the end result is exchanging money, you better let them know a little bit about you. It starts with the headshot. It goes into your profile headline and your about section, which I still call the summary. So you need to let people know a little bit about you. You certainly don't want to turn them off in the beginning with a spammy invitation. Please don't do that. And don't be afraid to engage with your connections. If there's a silver lining to this pandemic, it's the fact that so many people now know about Zoom. And I've taken on, I think, 6 or 7 other screen share applications because of the people I deal with and work with. I'd never heard of Blue Jeans. That's actually a sharing app, just like this one. Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting. We've used GoToMeeting for, I think, eight years now worldwide. It's our favorite, but Zoom works well. But don't be afraid to engage. There's so many ways you can still do that, even though a lot of us are doing what I'm doing. I call this my Debbie cave. I haven't been out of it in about 8 months. No, seriously. I go out for the essentials, but I'm not networking in person. I'm not gathering in person. So there's other ways you can still network. Okay. And just a quick tip for people in transition: do not upload your resume. And the reason you don't want to do that is because every time you apply for a job, you should be tweaking that resume for keyword optimization. And you need to look at the ad and you need to pull some of the keywords and make sure they exist on your resume. So you need to have what we call a fluid resume. And for that reason, we really tell the job seekers we work with, don't upload a resume because then you're stuck with whatever you're presenting to the viewer. Okay, this is the last slide. Understanding your network. I'm just realizing how big this is. It's pretty basic. LinkedIn was founded on the idea of the 6 degrees of separation. No, it has nothing to do with Kevin Bacon. I know somebody was just thinking that. What it does have to do with is the old theory that everyone in the world is connected by 6 people. Honestly, when you're on LinkedIn for any length of time, it's going to seem more like 4 or 5 people. So this is how the network's put together. I want you to understand this because it's really important to understand when you connect with a new person. All right, let's use this yellow ball over here. And I'm going to use Claire as an example. So when she and I connected, we became first level connections. So her count went up by 1 and so did mine. But she brought my 11,300 something connections into her network as second level members. And I brought whatever number of connections she has into my network. And all of those people have a list of connections, and now they are in our networks as third level members. When you connect with one person, you're bringing thousands of LinkedIn members into your network because of being connected to that first person. So it goes out first, second, third level members, and then LinkedIn groups, that's another whole ball of wax. Some of the social media groups I belong to literally have 800, 900,000 members in them. The minute you get accepted into a LinkedIn group, you sweep all those members into your network. So what's the big deal about that, Debbie? Let me show you. Not everybody can find you on LinkedIn. If they have your name, yes, they can jump right on your profile. But remember, over 90% of searches are keyword driven. They're organic. They don't have your name. So you better have your keywords in place so that they can find you that way. And as you build your network, it's the people in your network that can bring you up in a search result. So again, if they have your name, they can jump right on your profile. That's great. But most of the time, most searches, you're going to be found by your keywords, by your expertise, by whatever it is you're offering. And that's why you never stop building your network. You have to be somewhere in that person's network to even show up in their results. So I take time to explain this because it makes a lot more sense. You know, if anyone works with us, it's the first thing we go over, and the rest of our coaching and strategies make a lot more sense. But you never stop building your network. You always keep adding new people, preferably people of value. Okay, I'm going to get over to LinkedIn, and let me go over here. Okay, I think I am now, should be, there. Okay, so this is my profile, and I am cognizant of the time, so I'm going to be whipping through a lot of stuff here. So a lot of what I'm going to be telling you is, you know, again, it'll be on the slides. That's part of the PDF. And one thing I did not put in the slides that I meant to, I have 3 people that work with me. We review profiles every day. We do it in a 15-minute time span. It's complimentary. All you have to do is set up a time through our Calendly link. And Claire, I'll make sure I send you, I'll make sure I send that to you right after. I really meant to include that somewhere, and I don't think it's in those reference documents. So, you know, set up a complimentary review of your profile with us, and we'll give you a couple of quick pointers. But from top to bottom, this is the banner. That's the area behind your headshot. you want to have something in there. The default is a little boring. It's a couple of multicolored blue and gray kind of shades. If you're not a business owner and you have any kind of photos that have a horizontal layout to them, upload a photo, that means something to you. Don't have anybody, no family members, nothing like that. But that's one way that you can use that background banner. Another way is you can do something that my client Gary does. So Gary is a part-time photographer just for fun. This is a picture he took and it's absolutely gorgeous. It has meaning for him. And believe me, people ask him, where is that? Who took that picture? So it'll cause engagement besides adding more interest to your profile. When you get someone on your profile, and of course, business owners, you can create what we call a standing ad back there. And I know SCORE has a couple of different LinkedIn pages that have background banners, and you can actually lift that banner, right-click on it, save it as a JPEG, and you can transfer it right over to your own profile if you choose to do that. You have to remember your profile is your content. It's your professional digital footprint. It stays with you through your whole career. And you're not obligated to promote your employer, but that's a quick way to get a background image on there. It's called a LinkedIn banner. Headshot we already talked about. This is something new, very cool. It's an option through the mobile app. And you bring up your profile on the mobile app and you tap on the pencil across from your headshot. That means edit. All these little pencils mean edit. And you tap on the one that's kind of right here on your phone, and it'll say name pronunciation. And it's a 10-second recording. So it was intended to give members a way to pronounce their name for people. I have one of those impossible names. Nobody can say it, pronounce it, or remember how to spell it. So I love the option. But after you say your name, take advantage because you still have about 7 seconds to say whatever you want. So we use it as a promotional tool. Each of us does our name and then we talk about whatever. So I'll just let you visit my profile later and you can click on it to see what I'm saying this month. This is the About section, the summary. Okay, and I'm just going to skip down to the bottom of it because I always put a collection of my keywords. That is for the search engine and nothing else. It's just purposely there with intentional repetition, because I've already said LinkedIn about 20 times through my text in here, but you have to do the intentional repetition for the search engine. That's how we get our clients up on page 1. The more repetition. So if somebody is looking for a LinkedIn coach and they type that into the search field, it's a pretty good chance that I'm going to come up in page 1 results because I have LinkedIn, whatever, 100 times in my profile content. So don't be afraid to talk about yourself a little bit in the About section. It's not all about the company you work for. It's not all about SCORE. And it's not all about you. It's a combination. And that's probably, that is, I think, actually, there's 2 things that people often do. They make it about one thing or the other, and you really need to let the viewer know a little bit about you. And also, call to action. And that's a CTA, and it means you're giving an instruction to the viewer to do something. Don't forget to put a call to action in your About section. You could write a terrific narrative and they're really excited. They're like, wow, this sounds just like the person I need to talk to and connect with. And then you don't give them a way to contact you. So don't be afraid to put in your phone number, email, and website, if you choose to do that. At least get your email in there. And if you have a real reservation about putting your cell phone in there, as some people do, get a Google number and you can have your calls forwarded to your cell phone. But do get a call to action. There's nothing more frustrating for us than to see somebody that has taken time to write a really good narrative, a really good summary, and they say, the best way to connect with me is email. and they don't put the email. So you have to remember, I'm going to go back up to the top. Until you're connected to someone, if they tap on contact info, the only thing that LinkedIn is going to show them out of all this stuff is your URL. They're already on your profile, so that doesn't help them very much. And they may or may not show your email, depending on how you have your privacy settings control set. Depending on how you have your privacy settings set. Anyway, you have to keep that in mind. Until they connect with you, they're not going to have your email or phone number or any of that stuff unless you put it in the summary. Or in our case, we put it right in the banner. So the minute somebody, I love this option if you're a business owner, because the minute somebody visits my profile, they have everything they need to get hold of me. It's right there. Okay, let me get into the, oh, and one more thing about the summary. Tell people your why. I think that's one of the biggest things that people miss. It's important for people to understand what drives you. You know, why do you do the kind of work you do? You've got competition. Every single one of you has competition. And I'll use realtors as an example. They have a lot of competition, especially in South Florida, and certainly up in your area as well. You have to stand out. You have to do things creatively to call more attention to you than the other 9 realtors that came up in the search. So one of the ways is to let people know your why. And we do that. I have a paragraph about me. You know, and I tell people I love LinkedIn because I've been a networker forever. And for me, when I was a job seeker and just learning about LinkedIn because of that, we're going back 11, 12, 13 years ago. So the point I'm making is people want to know who they're dealing with. You're developing a relationship that you hope is going to turn into something more. Business, a sale, a hire, whatever. And even if you're a recruiter, you need to talk about why you do the recruiting work. Why do you like the company you're working with? Why should the viewer want to work with your company? You know, that sort of thing. Don't be afraid to get into it. You've got 2,600 characters to work with. And this is a 2,600. I don't waste any characters. I max it out. I want to use as many keywords as I can over and over in a professional way. I'm going to tell people pretty much exactly the highlights of what we've done and why. And, you know, I mentioned, hey, look at the 100 recommendations below if you want to see what other people say about us. This is where you sell. Okay, so mix it up, put a little bit of information in there about you, your company, your why, how they can get hold of you, and use your keywords. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the clock here. So coming down into, now this is my dashboard. You're going to have one on your profile. It's to keep you up to speed. Okay, the post I put up last night has over 2,000 views on it. But let me show you because it's a good example. All right, so I talked about how yesterday was a little stressful here in the US. It was a big day for us. Don't get political on LinkedIn. Don't discuss religion either. That's just social media. That's not the place for either one of those topics. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that can't hold back, but that's as far as I went. I just said, you know, my country, because we have international clients all over the place. But here I was talking about this message I got. I blocked out. I was so tempted to leave her name in there. She's from overseas and no headshot. And she greeted me with, and this is my team and I run direct messaging. I mean, she's selling me. I'm not connected to her. And this is how she's greeting me. And she doesn't even sign off with her name. Now, there's a couple of things you might have picked up on already. This might be a bot. Those are automated platforms that people incorporate. They shouldn't, and I tell her why. But she caught me when I was particularly frustrated. I had about 8 of these yesterday, invitations, people just saying, hey, Debbie, did you know that we can teach you how to do lead generation on LinkedIn? Oh, those are my favorites. And if they catch me at the wrong time, I do answer those, and then I block them, and then I report them and then block them. I just hate automated software. I hate automated anything when it comes to LinkedIn. You know, there's a time and a place to use things. Full transparency, we use Constant Contact for email blasts. We do the newsletter once a month, and then we're very particular about when else we use that database, because it's taken me about 10 years to build it. I've got 9,800 recipients on it right now. And I don't want to be known as the company that's always sending emails, you know, so I don't use Constant Contact the way everybody should or the way everybody does. That's my choice. And I like the way we've grown our business and our network. Doing this from grassroots, no capital, no, nothing. I was unemployed for a couple of years, and I went through everything, and I launched this business with a grassroots campaign, and it went on from there. That's a story for another time. But my point is, you know, relationship building takes time, and there's a right way to do it and a wrong way, and this is wrong. So I do try to educate a bit when I'm answering, and I did. I attached this. I told her that, and I don't even know if this is a real person, so I just said right off the bat, this is why automated software violates the LinkedIn user agreement, and it does. And we're constantly cautioning people that use it. There are hundreds of companies that supply this kind of software, and their whole thing is, oh, you can invite 100 people to connect every day instead of 10 or 20. Or we can, you know, search in seconds for your target market. So can I, without any software, and that's what we show our clients. But the point I'm doing is this: it's not the right way, it's not the optimal way to engage with people that you hope to have work with you later in one form or another. So I attached, and I also scolded her for, you know, if she viewed my profile, she would see we teach lead generation. I mean, this is what we do. So no, I'm not going to be interested in automated anything because it violates the LinkedIn user agreement. We are hugely against automated software and mixing it with LinkedIn. So, okay, I'm off my soapbox, but you see how I hit a nerve. I just went over 2,000 views on this, and I posted it last night. I've had 28 people comment. One person started with, ouch. You know, and then she went on to explain, it's not what you're saying, it's just, you know, you're really bringing to light what a problem this is. That's precisely why I posted it. And I'm not typically like that with my posts, but I'm also educating over 2,000 people on the LinkedIn user agreement. And in my comments, if you scroll through them, you're going to find the page, the reference document. You can actually right click on it and read it, you know, save it to your hard drive, use it, whatever. It's page, the user agreement is something no one ever reads. You know, in the beginning, when you signed on to LinkedIn, you said, sure, I'll agree to your terms, and off you go. Read it. You know, it gives you a good rundown on the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. And I specifically pulled that page of the agreement, and I use it as a reference document. A couple of other ways to engage: take screenshots of meetings that you network in. This is a great way to get engagement. I do my newsletter, excuse me, and that goes out. Okay, here's an example. Anytime I'm getting ready to do a presentation or a workshop or anything else, I always talk about it at the beginning of the week. I mentioned SCORE Monmouth, but I was doing presentations to a bunch of groups this week, alumni groups from colleges, you know, anyone that wants to know more about LinkedIn, that's what we do. And put my logo there as an attachment. And 382 people saw this post, which is good for all these different groups that I'm speaking to. So don't be afraid to engage with people. On the home page is the way to start that. Just looking at other posts by people that you're connected to, people in your network are doing stuff all the time. If you find something that resonates, click like on it. That's engagement, that's activity, and it shows up on your profile. And it's a block right here to show people what you're doing lately. So I did a couple of things already today. I'll do more. I'm on here all the time. I have a huge network, so I'm not annoying anybody. But even once a day, click like on something. You know, if you are in sales, make sure you're posting about other things besides what you sell. I caution my realtor clients because they always want to show the house of the week and all the details on how you can buy it. And I'm like, why don't you tell people how to stage their home for a showing, or talk about the latest mortgage rates? You know, inform and educate. Those are my two favorite words. Whether you're posting or writing an article or putting your about section together, inform and educate. Okay, the experience section, you want to build that out pretty much like your resume. And if you're a job seeker, those dates of start finish better match your resume. That is a key point from every HR person I'm connected to. Make sure your dates match up. That is one way that they vet the hundreds of resumes that come in. And don't be afraid to tell people what your journey was. You know, if you're doing something completely different now from 5 or 10 years ago, let people know. You know, people go through reinvention all the time. And right now, holy cow, there's all kinds of professionals that are reinventing themselves due to the pandemic. So it's an optimal time to take a look at where you've been, what you've done, where you're going. You know, if we work with so many people in transition, I don't mean to lean on that, but it is a big part of what everybody's dealing with. And if you're not in transition, you probably know somebody that is. But this is called building out your profile using your keywords in your headline, your summary, your experience section, and the skills down here. Oh, don't forget volunteering. That's super important. That's one of those extra sections you can use. In the skills section, you're allowed to enter up to 50, that's 50, entries. And it can be all sorts of things, you know, start with the 12 keywords that you've already got together. And I always tell people one of my favorite tricks, it's a strategy. If you run out of ideas on, okay, you got 10 more skills to enter and you've tapped out your brain, put one of your keywords in the search bar and look for somebody else that does what you do, and scroll down to their skills and you might be able to steal shamelessly. It's one of my favorite tips. Recommendations are important no matter what you do. People want to see what other people have to say about you. So it's completely appropriate to ask for a recommendation. They have to be connected to you. However, our favorite strategy is give to receive. So we tell people, think about all the people you're connected to and strategically pick a few people that you know can give you a good recommendation, and you give them one first. At the end of the process, LinkedIn will say, hey, Debbie, do you want to recommend Claire? You know, and it goes on from there. And I can talk all day on LinkedIn, but I think we're right around 10:45. And I do want to answer your questions. And let me show you one more profile, because I did ask this fellow if I could use this profile. He works for a company called BoxLock. I had no idea what it was. And then now they're corporate clients of ours. But this is a great example of creating interest with a banner, which happens to be right from their LinkedIn page. He has a keyword optimized headline. Those are all keywords that are relevant to what he is proficient in. He does a little ad on his name announcement, and he's got again, they worked with us, but you can use my profile as an example. Andrew followed our strategy for putting together an about section that includes all the information it should. Okay. Claire, do we have any questions?
We do. We have a couple of questions. Let me just get myself back online, which will be right now when my dogs will start to bark again. So this is actually, I had the same question, and so I'm glad someone posed it. If you have two business identities, for instance, I'm a graphics designer and a styling company, and want people to see you in both lights, how do you suggest setting up your page or pages, especially if I have already 900 plus connections and I want to keep them?
Right. Okay, first of all, LinkedIn wants you to have one professional profile. So a lot of people make the mistake of creating a second profile for that second profession or expertise. Do everything in one profile. If you have, and my record, by the way, is a gentleman in New York who has 5 companies and they're unrelated. And I had to argue with him, but we got everything in one profile because that's the user agreement. You're agreeing to have one professional profile and you're taking a chance if you don't get them together, and they will merge them for you if you can't do it on your own. We'll help you do that. But here's the thing. So instead of 12 keywords for one profession, come up with about 6 keywords for each thing that you do. If you have 3 revenue streams, come up with a bunch of keywords for each one, because you're going to want to infuse all of those keywords throughout your profile. But specifically, you can speak to both bits of expertise. Um, uh, and Claire, I could use your profile as an example, because you're emphasizing one thing in your headline, but you could also talk about SCORE if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So it's keywords. So you get your keywords together for each interest. You infuse some from each interest area, each revenue stream, in your headline. So you split them up. And in your about section, you're at liberty to talk about whatever you want. So when I work with somebody that has multiple revenue streams, we tend to do a paragraph on each thing in the about section with a very brief intro of, here's why I'm interested in so many different things. You know, my background in this, that, and the other thing led me to this, and here's what we do today. And then you just get into it with a different paragraph for each revenue stream.
Would that be just adding to that? So with your banner, your LinkedIn banner, that would be where you'd probably not want to, if you have multiple entities, you'd probably want to put something more generic there, I'm guessing.
Yes. Let me give you another tip for the banner. Canva. It's like the word canvas without the S. It's canva.com. It is the site that we use, and we provide the banners as a service to our clients if they want us to create it for them. But that's the site we use. And trust me, I'm not a graphics designer. If I can do it, you can do it. But you can use Canva because you can create a free account. And a new template they introduced about 5 months ago, it's called LinkedIn Banner. Boom. You don't have to mess with the sizing. They give you a blank canvas. You can click and drag logos. You can create text boxes. You can get creative. It's canva.com. We love it. I'm about to work on a new one now because I've had the same one for a while and I just want to shake it up a bit. Good question.
Okay. And then I have from somebody, I'm a house cleaning service. How well will LinkedIn work for me? I'm located in South Jersey.
Okay. Pretty well, because think of who you want to get hold of to advertise and promote your business. Let me talk to you too about LinkedIn groups. There's over, I think it's up to 6 million LinkedIn groups now. And we always get our clients into some LinkedIn groups that cater to their target market. So house cleaning, you know, you might want to approach young professionals who don't want to do it themselves, or people my age that don't want to do it myself. You know, there's a LinkedIn group for everybody. And think of your target market, plug in the keywords. You know, I've got commercial cleaning clients. I'm just trying to think of, there's a gal in Miami I dealt with, and they specialize in the COVID cleaning for daycare centers. So I got her on LinkedIn, and the whole key is building your network with professionals, because you never know who people are connected to. So if you purposely look for professionals in a certain industry or geographic area, or you know, a business, or search for them by title, that opens you up. You know, that's how you're going to build your network, and then you can promote on your profile with posting articles, your about section. You can also, I think Andrew did it. You can also, you can feature things pretty prominently on your profile, and you can also, well, he's only got one. You can also upload images. And that's another way to promote. And I've got images under every entry for experience, going back into all my nonprofit years. Even though it's not what I'm doing now, it adds interest, gives people a little idea of what I've done for coaching, speaking. I'm a volunteer for a nonprofit. I'm the director of communications, so I have pictures from our meetings. And then the back, from here back, it's all the nonprofit stuff I've done. But I still have some pictures uploaded, under some of the nonprofit work I've done. So yes, I mean, honestly, I have a retired sister. She was with American Airlines she stepped out of college and into American 32 years, and then she retired. And she used to say, well, do I need to be on LinkedIn? And when I started my business, I said, no, you're retired, no, you don't need to be. Well, she is now because she found a whole bunch of her colleagues from American Airlines are on here. So really, my oldest connection is 82. He was a top-notch executive in his day. He loves this site because he's connecting with people he hasn't talked to in years. And he puts out, every post he does is about, it's helpful. It's, hey, check this link out here if you want to know how to do a better elevator pitch. He's amazing. He's 82. So I think it's for everybody that wants to engage and build relationships, build professional relationships. Anything else? You're on mute, Claire.
Yeah, I just realized I was on mute. So we have a couple of questions, and we only have a couple more minutes. So I'm going to see if I can find ones that are similar to each other. So we have one: if I'm a partner in a nutrition counseling company, which is very competitive, we aren't so much looking for individual clients, but more about finding speaking opportunities and growing our podcast audience. What direction would you suggest to go?
Okay, so let me just take a shot. I have no idea what's going to come up here. I'm going to look for some people that do that. Okay, so people, 230. And if I want to take a shot at New Jersey, that didn't type. Okay, 3. Well, whoever that is, she's in a good field for if she's in New Jersey. Not many people out there doing that, or at least on LinkedIn. So get your profile set up and then go after some groups. And I would, because you can change this. See how I put it in quotes? That tells the search engine, just give me results that have that exact phrase in their content. So, and then I narrowed it down to New Jersey, and it gave me New York, New York, New York. Okay. LinkedIn will do a 50-mile radius of whatever area you plug in for a metropolitan area. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to look in groups. I have no idea. So this is going to be in different areas. When you look for groups, they're not geographically separated out. We wish they were, but there's 13 results here of groups that deal with nutrition speakers. So you can get into groups and you can get opportunities that way. My favorite thing is showing people how to post strategically. And posting, I'm going to flip into my home page. When you have something to offer, like this fellow is in Dubai, and all he does is record LinkedIn experts. So that was my introduction to Dubai about a month ago. And Jeff is one of my favorite people. He and I are doing not a podcast, a webinar together next Friday. So my point is, you have a lot of different options to promote on LinkedIn. Posting is one. It's done from the home page. You can post whatever you want. You can create an image to go with it, which we always recommend. You can create a LinkedIn page that acts for free, that acts like a mini website. And on the LinkedIn page, everything you post is a promotion for your company. So that's a great advantage. Real quick, to create that page, you have to do the profile first. And the criteria is an email that has the company name in the extension, at least 100 connections on your profile. And you have to have a profile strength of all-star. And on your profile, when you scroll down to your dashboard, it's going to tell you if you are an all-star. That means you've met the basic requirements for a good profile as far as LinkedIn's concerned. We take it a step further and give you a keyword optimized profile, because that's how the search engine is going to pick you up and bring you up to the top of results.
Okay, thank you. So it is 10:57. I'm going to take one more question. If I'm on LinkedIn with a current employer and colleagues and I'm looking for a new job, how do I do that without making it obvious I'm looking to leave my position?
Really good point. Let me show you Jim. Okay. He has just left his company, so he's at liberty to put it out there. One thing we're not in favor of, and obviously that person that's asking would not want this new banner they have that says open to work, hashtag open to work. It goes right here, it's green. But on your profile, you can stay under the radar. It's not going to show up on mine because I'm using this section as a service provider to talk about what we provide. But in this section, you'll see a pencil and I can't remember what it says, something like career goals or something. It gives you the chance to stay under the radar. In other words, not blast out to recruiters that you're available, because they can't guarantee that your profile is not going to be put in front of your HR person at the company you're in. You can turn your about section into what we call a professional statement, which is very generic but very pointed with talking about why. So if you want to continue in the field you're in, talk about your why you love what you do, give a nod to your current employer, put a paragraph in about the company. You can take it right off their website. Bullet point what you are doing currently that you really want people to know about, and give another paragraph to. You can isolate and bullet point some of your crowning achievements in your past without looking like a job seeker, because you fashion it as, like I said, a professional statement. Here's who I am, here's why I do it, here's who I'm working with now, here's what I do for that company now, and here's what I've done, as far as your notable achievements. And then your contact information and your keyword block, and then you've got a pretty good about section that portrays the professional that you are. The rest of what you do on job seeking to stay under the radar, it's direct messaging. It's connecting with people that work for companies that you might want to go into, or we show people I have a webinar coming up on how to engage with HR people, which job seekers are always terrified to do, and you shouldn't be. So there's a number of ways, that you can stay under the radar. We've worked with many, 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 many professionals who would probably be fired if it was known that they were actually looking elsewhere. So you're not alone.
All right. I think on that note, and with that final question, so for the rest of the questions that we didn't get a chance to answer, if you want to email monmouthscore@gmail.com, we can see if we can help you. And get some answers for you. But in the meanwhile, I just want to mention, if anybody is looking for a mentor, then please check out our website at monmouth.score.org, and you can register for a mentor there. Check out our website also at monmouth.score.org for future webinars. Debbie, I want to say thank you so much. What a great topic, and what great content. It was really, really helpful.
My pleasure. Glad to help.
This webinar has been recorded and it's going to be on our YouTube channel. It will be up in a couple of days. So for anybody who may want to go back and refer to it, go ahead. We will also send you out Debbie's Calendly link in case anybody wants to schedule a 15-minute consultation with her. We'll do that to the attendees after this meeting. And Debbie, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
You know what? Just stay safe, stay healthy, and know that we will get through all this chaos. Thank you.
We will. Thanks, Debbie. All right, everybody have a great day and we'll see you on our next webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.